If you want to beat the breakout this week, you're going to have to move quick. Just to start this week, we've already had 5 prospects get the call. They are already on the major league clubs, so let's move fast. And what has become a bi-weekly tradition, a high-end Orioles prospect is now with the big club, and Connor Norby gets his chance. Now, he's actually already played 0 for 3, so not a spectacular debut, but there's still plenty of time. Or is there? We never really know with these Orioles prospects because sometimes they get the call and they only play sparingly. We saw that with Heston Kjerstad before he got sent back down. Kyle Stowers has been up and hasn't played as much as we'd like despite showing some power. So this is obviously a tricky situation. A very talented player, but happens to be on an extremely talented team. Now here's the other thing is he's up because Jorge Mateo is on the concussion IL, and that's possibly just a 7-day thing. We don't know, of course, it varies. Could stay longer, but there's no guarantee that this is a prolonged stint. So Norby might have to get off to a hot start in order to stay up. So he is definitely capable. I mean, obviously, just being the number 6 prospect on any club is fairly impressive, but when you're on Baltimore's farm system, then yeah, that means a lot more than some of these other players. He's hitting .286 with 9 home runs and 7 steals at Norfolk, so not too bad. He's got a good hit tool. He's got legit power, especially for a second baseman, and he's got decent speed. This is the type of player in this situation where you want to scoop him up wherever possible to see if the breakout happens. Now, again, there is a very realistic chance that a week or 2 from now, he's just back at AAA, right? It just could happen. There's a chance that he comes up now, plays every day, and does nothing, right? Like what happened with Jackson Holiday, but the same goes for every prospect. So again, you take your shots on the ones with the upside, and clearly Norby has it. So I'd say grab him if he's still out there. Now, being the number 6 prospect for the Detroit Tigers isn't as exciting, but still, it's nice to see Justin Henry Malloy getting his chance. Now, Tigers made news because they sent Spencer Torkelson, their former number 1 prospect, well, a guy who hit 31 home runs last year, is now in the minors. Henry Malloy taking his place. This isn't a 1-on-1 replacement. Henry Malloy doesn't have that type of power. But then again, can he really do worse than Torkelson has done this year? And it's ironic that Henry Malloy is making his major league debut now, even though he's the exact same age as Spencer Torkelson, who was the everyday first baseman last year. You know, he's got a chance a lot earlier. Torkelson still working some things out. But look, that aside, they're going to give another player a chance. Let's see if he takes advantage. Henry Malloy is somebody who came over from Atlanta in that Joe Jimenez trade a year ago. The Braves typically do a pretty good job of scouting and developing their young position players. Let's see if Detroit can really take him to the next level. He's put up okay numbers in the AAA level this year, but last year the power was legit, 23 home runs and 83 RBIs. Now, to be fair, Detroit is not the best place for a power hitter, but still, that doesn't excuse Torkelson's horrendous start to the season because he's not hitting anywhere. Justin Henry Malloy has a chance to prove that he can at least stick in the lineup for now. Detroit's been moving a lot of pieces around. I think this is a team that does have a lot of young talent on offense, but is still trying to kind of figure out its identity. Let's see if Justin Henry Malloy can be part of that. And from Justin Henry now to just Henry. And let's go back to a familiar name, not a prospect anymore, because Henry Davis debuted last year with the Pirates and started out on the opening day roster this year. Didn't last that long because he was just bad, miserable. In fact, let's just put it the way it was. His slash line was 162, 280, 206. And that was across 68 at-bats. We're not just talking a week or 2 here. Look, no home runs. This was one of my favorite sleepers in the preseason, to be honest. It just did not pan out. Now, again, this is somebody who looked like he was ready, had a pretty good spring. He went to driveline, but it didn't work out early. The Pirates, talk about musical chairs here at every position. Catcher first and foremost. They've tried everything here. They had the veteran Yasmani Grandal. They had a reclamation project with Joey Bart. A couple of catchers I never heard of. Why not give Davis a chance? Ever since he got sent down, he's been hitting pretty well in the minors. A .296 average, 7 home runs, and 17 RBIs since his demotion. Will this be what he needed, to kickstart him at the pro level? Because remember, he wasn't bad last year. We saw him throughout the second half, and he was able to hit, not necessarily for average, but he did show some power. So it was kind of surprising they got off to such a bad start this season. I still believe in Davis. I'm not necessarily going to get suckered into starting him and picking him up everywhere. I want to see it first, but I feel like we have seen that he can handle major league pitching, so I don't want to forget about him just because of the quick demotion. And the best thing about Davis is that even though he won't actually catch that often, if at all, he'll play a lot of outfield, maybe DH, but he qualifies at catcher, and that is super valuable. And we've got a couple new pitching prospects that have already been called up as well. Not as familiar names that you might think of some of these pitchers that we've already seen come up recently, but let's take a look at one of the top 10 prospects overall in the Padres system, and that's Adam Mazur. They definitely need some help after putting both Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove on the IL. This team is getting very thin in the rotation all of a sudden. So Mazur now getting the call. And remember, they've thinned their ranks because with the Dylan Cease trade, getting Cease a big boost, but then they are very depleted at the AAA and AA level as far as starting pitching. But Mazur is their number 5 overall prospect. This is a guy who's got a great fastball and great control so far. Now, his ERA right now, this year at the AAA level, not good. 4 starts, 7.11 ERA. But let's look past that because overall the numbers are actually more impressive. An 18-4 strikeout to walk ratio. And all throughout the minors, a walk rate around 4 or 5%. And he's also done a really good job of limiting home runs, low homer rates. And that's impressive, especially at AAA, the fact that he's in the PCL, that's more hitter-friendly system. So, look, small sample size, big ratios, not too concerned. This guy shows like he has command. Obviously, the Padres think he might be ready. So let's take a chance here. Now, I will say if you are picking up Mazur, it's probably in either a Dynasty League or an NL-only league or just a really deep league. I'm going to wait and see how he does in his first start or 2 at the very least. And then if you're in a deep league, AL-only league, or just need help in the bullpen, maybe with holds, let's look at the Angels' Ben Joyce. Now, Joyce did enjoy a cup of coffee last year with the Halos. 10 innings pitched. He gave up 6 runs, 9 walks to 10 strikeouts. Not what you're looking for, but he did somehow manage to pull off 4 holds in that time. So what's encouraging is the usage, is that just in that limited time, they were putting him in, I would say, fairly decent leverage situations, at least enough where he's 7th, 8th inning getting some of those holds. And realistically, this is a relief prospect, somebody who's going to be in the bullpen, someone who's early in his career had Tommy John. Not that that's, something that really matters anymore, right? Anybody can have Tommy John and bounce back. But his command is a little more iffy. This guy is pure velocity. In fact, very notable for at his Tennessee days in college, hitting 105 on the radar gun. And that's why he grades out with an 80 fastball. But again, you need more than just one pitch, and you need more than just velocity. So let's see if that control is an issue. Again, 9 walks in 10 innings last year. That's why he started the season in the minors. But he's got the upside. Clearly, he's got the strikeout stuff. So if you're looking for bullpen help, Joyce is definitely an interesting name, especially because the Angels don't exactly have a dead set closer the rest of the season. Carlos Estevez, I feel like he's always kind of on thin ice. And then I was debating whether to mention this now or wait another week or 2. Let me just throw it out there because I'm going to revisit it again for sure next week. Noelvi Marte, if you're in a league where he's still out there, and there's probably a lot because, let's face it, there's no reason to stash a guy who you know is missing half the season because he was slapped with an 80-game suspension right before opening day. Well, he is going to come back, and in fact, it's not that far off. June 27th is tentatively set to be when that suspension is lifted, and that means he's going to start potentially with rehab games, which means he can get some actual game action. So, hey, if Marte is out there, this might be the time to put him on your NA spot because you can still do that. I will dive a little deeper into Marte and tell you again to add him next week if he's still out there because this is going to be one of your more high priority stashes. But for now, I would just say start looking. Always got to be active on the waiver wire, especially when it comes to these prospects before they blow up. If you're still looking for help, pitching, hitting, anything, I got you covered with weekly waiver wire advice. You can catch the latest video right there.